with a video, actually, that maybe in first sight it would seem completely not related, but I think that it is something that it's, first of all, many people don't know. We have no idea what surrounds us, and I think that it's very important for the rest of the shiur. So I would very much appreciate it if you stick up to the video, even though it's a little long. I'm gonna skip, and we're not gonna watch it all the way to the end, but I would very much appreciate it if you do watch it. There you go. Wait, I'm trying to find it for you.
Is Earth. You live here on this planet somewhere, and everything that you've ever known is located right here. But just how small exactly is Earth when compared to the scale of the entire universe? Let's start by zooming out to where we can see our nearest cosmic neighbor, the Moon. You may think that the Moon is very close to Earth since it dominates our night skies, but in reality the Moon isn't this close to our planet, it's actually about this far away. 384,400 kilometers away from you right now on average. You could fit 30 entire Earths in between this distance, and if you somehow were able to drive a car at a constant 100 kilometers per hour speed, it would take you about 160 days to drive the entire distance. Despite this incredible distance, however, 12 humans have actually set foot here, representing the furthest away that any individual human has ever been away from the Earth, and one of humanity's greatest achievements. This is what the Earth would look like from there if you were standing there with them, and if you wanted to communicate with somebody back at home, it would take a message about 2.5 seconds to travel between you and them, since that's how fast the speed of light can travel at. This is a photo that was taken on Mars, and that tiny dot that you see there is Earth as seen from the Martian surface. On average, Mars is an incredible 225 million kilometers away from Earth, but that distance can be as high as 401 million kilometers. That means that whenever humanity finally gets around to landing a human on the planet, that person will be 986 times further away from Earth than the astronauts who landed on the Moon were. In addition, the time delay for sending a message from Mars back to Earth isn't just 2.5 seconds, it's actually more like 20 minutes each direction, which would render instant communication in the event of an emergency impossible. When we zoom out even further away, we can find the Voyager 1 space probe, which is the furthest away man-made object from Earth. It is currently located 138 AUs from the Earth, AU meaning astronomical unit, which is the distance between the Earth and the Sun, which means that Voyager 1 is 138 times further away from us than the Sun is. At some point on its long voyage, Voyager 1 turned its camera around and took this photograph. It may not look like much at first, but in my opinion this is the greatest single photograph ever taken in all of human history. This tiny pale blue dot is Earth, and I don't think that anybody has ever said something as amazing about this as Carl Sagan when he said, "If you look at it, you see a dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever lived out their lives. The aggregate of all our joys and sufferings, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines. Every hunter and every forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilizations, every king and every peasant, every young couple in love, every hopeful child, every mother and every father, every inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam." Voyager 1 is currently traveling at 17 kilometers every single second, but even at that speed, it won't break out of the reach of our solar system for another 30,000 years. Once we go beyond the solar system, we arrive in our interstellar neighborhood. Here we shift to the light-year unit of measurement, which is the distance that light travels in a full Earth year, or about 9.461 trillion kilometers. The star Proxima Centauri here is the closest other star to us other than our Sun, but it's still 4.24 light-years away from us. To put that into perspective, if it was heading in the right direction, it would still take Voyager 1 over 70,000 years to reach it. In other words, if you drove your car at 100 kilometers an hour like in our previous example to the moon, it would take over 6 times longer than the entire age of the universe is just to finally get there, and it wouldn't even exist still when you arrived. When we zoom out even further, we can see the entire Milky Way galaxy, inside of which Earth is located right here. This yellow dot is the furthest extent of humanity's radio broadcasts throughout history, which means that any possible aliens who live outside of this range are totally unaware of humanity's presence. It's complete silence outside of this yellow dot as far as we are currently aware, but the entire galaxy spans over 100,000 light-years from end to end. There are over 100 billion stars and over 100 billion planets inside of our galaxy. But you have never seen the full glory of the galaxy at night, because 99% of the stars that you can see with the naked eye are limited to this small, tiny region right here. But even this massive galaxy is nothing compared to the rest of what's out there. Zooming out even further and we arrive at the local group of galaxies, a collection of 54 different galaxies that is about 10 million light-years across. But zooming out even further and we can see the Virgo supercluster, of which the local group here is just a tiny segment of. There are at least 100 other groups of galaxies just like our own local group inside of here, and the distance from one side to the other is a mind-numbing 110 million light-years. But even the massive Virgo supercluster is nothing but a quiet and tiny lobe of the Great Laniakea supercluster, an enormous structure that is home to our galaxy as well as 100,000 other galaxies. The distance from one side to the other is 520 million light-years, but from even there we can zoom out all the way to the entire observable universe and see that even the titanic Laniakea supercluster is just a tiny and insignificant part of everything. This is the observable universe, and it contains everything that we know of. It is home to at least 2 trillion different and individual galaxies, which together contain more stars than there are grains of sand on the entire Earth. The distance from Earth to any side of the observable universe is 46.5 billion light-years, which means that the entire width is 93 billion light-years across. What's perhaps even more interesting, however, is what actually lies beyond the observable universe. Keep in mind that the observable universe is all that we can currently see, and it's entirely possible that the rest of the universe outside of it is vastly larger and more fantastic than we can possibly ever imagine. We simply don't know what else is out there, because the light from these incredibly distant places has not yet had enough time in the universe's history to reach us yet back on Earth. And the light from some places may never reach us at all. Because some parts of space very far away from Earth are expanding away from us faster than the speed of light, that means that the light from these places will never, in an infinite amount of time, reach Earth. Meaning that even if humanity is eternal and exists forever, there will still be an unknown number of places in the universe that we will never know about or ever see. So, it is very likely that as unbelievably enormous as it seems, the observable universe is just a tiny slice of what we can currently see of the entire universe. According to the theory of cosmic inflation that was proposed by Dr. Alan Guth, if it is assumed that cosmic inflation began at 10 to the negative 37th of a second after the Big Bang, and with the assumption that the size of the universe before inflation began was equal to its age times the speed of light, then this would seem to suggest that at the present day, the entire universe is 150 sextillion times larger than the observable universe. That number for reference looks like this, with this many zeros. Let this number sink in for just a moment. This would be similar to you thinking that the entire observable universe, everything that you could see, was the size of a light bulb, but then realizing that in reality the entire universe is larger than the former planet of Pluto. Imagine a light bulb in the center of Pluto, but we inside the light bulb were totally unaware that Pluto existed outside of it, and that's
Okay, ladies, I'm very much appreciative that you stuck with me and you actually watched it. I had Itamar by my side because of all the technical things that had to be done simultaneously, and I'm a little good with the computer, so he was here to help me. I don't know if you saw him or not. I wanted to show you this video because for me, this video means a lot. I remember the first time I watched it, and every time he says, okay, so this, all that you think, this is, look at this universe. It's so great. It's so huge. And then I think, wow, that's amazing. That's all that there is. And then he says, no, that's just a tiny dot. There's so much more. And then he explains everything. And look, it's so big. It's so great. And again, this is just a tiny piece. And again, and again, and again, and again. And I never imagined just how great the universe is. And the understanding that Hashem created all of it, it makes us understand just how great Hashem is. Like, think of a person who made a chair. Okay, so the person who made the chair has to be so much more complex and so much greater than the chair that he created. Okay, in order to make one simple chair, you need a human brain. And just think of this universe, just how huge and amazing it is, and just how it's nothing compared to Hashem. And sometimes we imagine Hashem and we look at the sky and we think of him like, really, Hashem is so, so great. He's so, I don't have the words in English, also not in Hebrew, but Hashem is so great. And if Hashem is so big, enormous, I don't know, so great, so really he can do everything, and everything, even the things that seems to us like it's impossible to ask. If a person, if he's sick and he's maybe even dying, so he thinks to himself, what, Hashem is going to cure me now? A miracle is going to happen and I'm going to stand up and start walking? Hashem created the entire universe. He can do everything. This is nothing for him. This is really nothing for him to cure you. Nothing for Hashem to do anything for us. We are nothing. So it's really, Hashem can do everything. And we shouldn't limit Hashem. We shouldn't think to ourselves, oh, this is beyond Hashem's reach. If the doctor said I will never have children, then that is it. What, Hashem is going to give me children miraculously? He's going to miraculously create a uterus for me? Yes, this could actually happen because it's nothing for Hashem. It really is nothing. And Hashem could even give you your cure or your whatever it is, your salvation, through things that are exactly the opposite than what you thought you could use. I'll give you an example. Hashem, there are two stories in the Torah that show us how sometimes Hashem wanted to make a miracle, and he chose to do it in an interesting way. One story is, both stories actually happened when the Jewish people were in the desert on their way to the land of Israel. And the first story happened, the Jewish people sinned, and Hashem sent them snakes to punish them, and they were bitten by the snakes. And then the Jewish people ran to Moses, and they asked him, Moshe, help us, save us, cure us, pray to Hashem. And Moshe prayed to Hashem, and Hashem told him, make a snake, take copper and make a copper snake and put it somewhere very, very high. And all those who were bitten, they should look at the snake, and by looking at the snake, they will be cured. And it's weird. Like, why making us heal this way? Why not just healing them? Why making a snake? And out of looking at the snake, which is their original reason why they're sick, why they're dying, looking at the snake will heal us. Another story happened in a place called Mara. It was also in the desert. And the Jews went to a place where they didn't have water, and there was only a spring, but the water were very, very bitter. And they couldn't drink it. It was dangerous to drink the water. So they went to Moshe and they started whining. They asked Moshe, please pray Hashem and ask him to to make the water sweet so we can drink. And what did Hashem tell Moshe to do? He told him, go and take a specific tree that grows in the desert. And this tree is known to be the most bitter tree in the entire desert. You take this tree that is very bitter and you throw it into the water. The water is very bitter as well. And together it will become sweet. And then you can drink and it will be good for drinking. Why making Moshe throw the most bitter tree into the bitter water in order to make it sweet? Why not just making it sweet? So Rashi explains that the reason why the things were done this way, it's because Hashem wanted to show them that they're too limited in their minds. Hashem can do everything. Hashem can make the most bitter water together with the most bitter tree and together make it sweet. Hashem can make you heal and cure by looking at the same thing that actually caused your illness. We're limiting Hashem and we think of him we think of him as if he is limited. He's not limited. He can do everything. All the rules of nature as we know them mean nothing. They were created by Hashem and they can be very easily canceled by Hashem. We shouldn't take this world so seriously. We shouldn't look at this world as this is the rules and this is how things are going to be and this is how they were and this is how they will always be. Hashem made this world. Hashem can do everything, literally everything, and we shouldn't limit him. We should have more faith in Hashem. In a way, we should have more faith in ourselves. We should also have more faith in Hashem. We should give him more credit. Know that he can do everything for you, that he wants to do everything for us. There's a story about the Rabbi of Karlin. And the Rabbi of Karlin was a very, very great rabbi, and it was a few hundred years ago, I think, if I'm not wrong. And he asked his students, who were all the students of the Rabbi of Karlin, they were all very knowledgeable. They knew the entire Talmud by heart. They were great, great Talmidei Chachamim. And he asked them, what do you think is the worst sin a Jew can do? And they gave their answers, and they all gave, they gave different answers. And for every answer that they gave, they knew to give proof. So they said, in the Talmud on that page, it says this. And on the Talmud on the other page, it says that. And it sounds crazy, but I actually know a rabbi that he gives shiurim, and you can hear his shiurim on YouTube. And he gives a shiur, and during his shiur, he quotes things from the Talmud. He says, that's on this Masechet on that page, 6 lines from the bottom. And the Talmud has thousands of pages. It's really amazing. There are even these days, we have Talmidei Chachamim that are great and knowledgeable, but back then, they really knew. And they gave proof to every single thing that they said. So they said different things. They said maybe not honoring your parents. That's the worst sin a Jew can do. Or Shabbat, or maybe speaking about other people badly, or even maybe when you don't believe in God at all. Maybe that's the worst thing. And they all gave proof. And then their rabbi told them that they're very wrong and that nobody gave the answer. And he said that the worst sin a Jew can do, it's not even in the Torah. It doesn't even say in the Torah what is that worst sin that a Jew can do. He said that the worst sin possible is a Jew that has no idea who he is. And he has no idea what it means at all to be a Jew. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know that he's Jewish, and he doesn't know what Hashem wants from him. He walks this world completely oblivious. I'm hoping I'm not making up words here. I'm pretty sure that's a real word. And he walks this earth for 70, 80, 90 years. 100, 120, Bezrat Hashem. And then he passes away. And he didn't know at all. He didn't know that Hashem loves him. He didn't know that there is Hashem. He didn't know nothing. And in a way, it's not even a sin. because he's what's called tinok shenishba, which is it's a term that means a baby that was kidnapped. For example, a Jewish baby that was kidnapped and he grows up as a Gentile, as a person who is not even aware of himself being a Jew. He says it's not a sin, but it's the worst sin at the same time. And he explains that on the other side of it, there are also people who know, like they know that they're Jewish, but they have no idea about the connection they have to Hashem. They have no idea how much Hashem loves them. They have no idea how much the connection between them and Hashem is strong, and how it's something that can never be broken. And he says there are people who think about themselves. They look at themselves and they think that they've sinned. They did such terrible things. They're too late. Maybe they're too old already, and it's too late for them. And that they think that Hashem forgot about them, or that they can never change, or that they can never change their path. And he says that this is the worst thing that could happen, because in the Zohar, it says actually that Hashem can never break the connection between him and a Jew. It doesn't matter what the Jew would do. It doesn't matter. You can never break this connection between you and Hashem. Nothing you will ever do can ever break this connection you have to Hashem. Sometimes we can, in a way, cut Hashem out, but Hashem will never cut us out. And we need to understand that that really we have a soul. That this soul is what's called chelek eloka mimal, which means it's a part of Hashem itself. And wherever we go and whatever we do, we take this part with us. We don't look at ourselves, we don't look in the mirror and think, wow, I have a neshama, I have a soul, and it's part of Hashem, and I'm so great, and I can do great things, and I have such great potential, and I should elevate myself. I should do great things because I am great. I am divine in that way. We don't look at ourselves this way, but it's true. And we do have a part of Hashem inside us, and wherever we go, we take it with us. And even if we go to bad places, even if someone goes and does the worst things possible, he's taking Hashem with him. And there's actually a pasuk that says, "Itam ani betchol tumotehim," which means wherever they go, even if they're at the worst places, I'm with them there, and they take me down in a way, but I'm theirs, so I'm willing to go down with them. And there's another pasuk that says, "Gam be'eretz oyev lo me'astim velo ge'altim," which means even if they go to a foreign, not a foreign, how do we say, an enemy country, lo me'astim velo ge'altim, which means I will never push them away. I will never be disgusted by them. And even if they go to an enemy country, the explanation is even if they, in a way, take themselves to a place that is like an enemy for them, that is completely the opposite of who they are and what they're meant to be. Even if a Jew, imagine the terrible picture of a Jew crossing the border from Israel to Gaza and shooting the Jews from the other side, like the worst terrible things. Whatever you would do, you can never break this connection with Hashem. And whatever you would do, even if you would put yourself in the farthest place that is so the opposite of who you are, who you truly are, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because the connection you have with Hashem can never be broken. And in a way, it's like a mother that has a child, that sometimes the child has a dirty diaper, and when people see, they can see the cutest baby or the cutest toddler, and they love the little kid, but then they're playing with him, and they think he's the cutest kid in the world, but then the kid has a dirty diaper, and nobody wants to pick the child up. And the only person who really likes the child, really, and wants to pick him up and even give him hugs and kisses, even though he has a dirty stinky diaper is his mother. And I only really appreciated it after I became a mother, because you don't know how happy you can be by a dirty diaper until you're a mother. And I think that Hashem, in a way, it's also, I think, but it's said that in a way, this is what Hashem is like, because we are his children and we're loved. And it doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter how stinky we are. Hashem loves us. And I think I wanted to talk about it now in Chodesh Elul, because it's the month of Elul. And I think that there are a few things that we need to think about. The first thing is, and I didn't start with it, but I think that that's the first step, is knowing that it doesn't matter what we do, and it doesn't matter what we did. Hashem loves us. And our connection to Hashem can never be broken by anything that we would ever do. And you know what? That's the month of Elul. It's a month that was meant to be a month of getting closer to Hashem, changing our ways, becoming better, but finding our way to Hashem, because we don't always feel this way. We don't always, every time we daven, have this feeling that the sky is opening and we're one with Hashem and every word we mean. I wish, but it's not always like that. And we might have these times when we daven and we really feel Hashem, or we might have these times when we do whatever and we really feel connected, we feel good, we feel wanted and loved, but it's not always like that. And this is the month, really it's every month, it's every day, but especially this month. That's the time to try to reach out, to try to find this relationship, to find this connection that we have to Hashem. And I feel that the main thing that stops us, obviously, is ourselves. And it's not on Hashem's side. It's not that we're not wanted by Hashem, and it's not that we're not loved by Hashem or whatever. It's about, sometimes it's about us not believing in ourselves, or not believing that that Hashem is waiting for us just to reach out, that Hashem is reaching out for us. And we judge ourselves too harshly. We don't see how good we are, and we don't believe how loved we are. And I think that this is the main thing we need to work on this month. We need to open our eyes and understand that there is Hashem, that he loves us, and that there is nothing that we can do to break this connection, and that we can always just turn to Hashem, and he's always wanting our prayers. And the next thing I think that is so important for us to know on Elul, or always, is that that there is an Hashem, that he loves us so much, that he's so great. You shouldn't limit him. You shouldn't think of him as something small. You shouldn't think of him as, we don't know how, only the world itself, it's enough to understand that Hashem is great and can do everything. It's just understanding how much there is beyond us, how much there is. And Hashem created all of it just for us. Why do we need all these stars? Why do we need all these galaxies? Why do we need the universe to be so enormous? We probably don't. But it says that one of the reasons why Hashem made the universe so big is for us to, in a way, be able to understand him, or to understand how much we are. It's impossible for us to understand him. How much Hashem is great. Hashem wanted to show us, look, he didn't make tiny posters for us to read and say, I'm enormous, you can count on me, I can do everything for you. But he made signs. Now that we have technology and we have science and we're more knowledgeable and we are more capable of understanding just what there is beyond us, it's in a way a sign for us. See how great I am, and see how I made all of this just for you, and know that I made all of it just out of my love to you. So know how much I love you. And I think that this is something that we really need to think of and remember. There is a pasuk in the Zohar. It says, "Man demishtadel beoraita v'nechazila chovot nefachot leschuyot," which means the person who is really trying to walk in the path the Torah is giving us. V'nechazila, and he holds on to it. Chovot nefachot leschuyot, which means all the bad things that he did, they're not only erased, they're actually turned into mitzvot. It's as if he made mitzvot instead of all the bad things that he did. What does it mean? A person who's making tshuva, and it's already also said somewhere else, if I'm not wrong, it said that it depends what kind of tshuva it is, because you can make tshuva out of fear, out of awe, understanding how great Hashem is, and realizing he gave us the Torah, and that we don't really follow it properly. And I'm talking to myself at the moment. And another level of tshuva is tshuva out of love, which means you know what Hashem made, and you know that Hashem made it just out of love to you. And that's just knowing that someone loves you so much. If you would have known about a person who loves you so much, you would love him too. And when you see Hashem's kindness and you see Hashem's love, and then if you make tshuva out of love, then the bad things that you did, they're not only erased by Hashem, he's not only looking away from them and saying, forget it, that's between you and me, we're starting something fresh. He's actually turning all those bad things that we do, he's turning them into mitzvot. Why? Because these things pull us back. And you too, even though you had all these things behind you, you changed your way, even though these things are pulling you back and holding you in place, and you chose to let go of them, and you chose to change your ways, and you decided to change the path of your life. So these things are mitzvot because you just took the power. These things were holding you back. They're making the process of your tshuva stronger and greater because you had to fight against them. And that's why they're counted as mitzvot. And it says in the pasuk, "Man demishtadel beoraita v'nechazila." And what does it mean? V'nechazila, he's holding on to it. Hold on to it. So you need to, in a way, hold on to something, and really, it's called mesirut nefesh, which means it's not mesirut nefesh in a way. It's like giving your soul. So we're not really told to go and die and give our lives, but in a way, to give your soul for something that you're really, really, really holding on to. And it's always good. But maybe on this month, it's not a bad idea to choose one thing that you take upon yourself to show Hashem that, you know what? I'm far away probably from where I want to be or where I should be. But I want to go somewhere. I want to find myself on the right path. I want to change. I want to do good. And trying to take the entire Torah upon myself now, it's hard and I'll probably fail. But I can take one thing. One thing I can. And I want. So you choose one thing that you think that you could do, but you really hold on to it. So you need to take down something that is not too heavy. So it's something that you can do, but really hold on to it and give your soul for that one thing. And it would change everything. It would change the entire picture. And also for you, because the same way that the bad things we do, they pull us back and they hold us in place. The good things we do, they pull us forward and they pave a way for us. So by choosing one thing and holding on to it, really, we are giving ourselves the power to do more. We're giving ourselves the strength to find our way to greater things. So ideas for you. And this is something you can do privately, but I'm giving ideas. One thing that we really, really underestimate the value of, and I think that it's, in a way, it's easier than other things. It's talking about other people. That it's really very bad. It's very bad to talk about other people. And some people think that, okay, I'm so bad at it. It's not something I can change. I can't control what I say 24/7 for the rest of my life and guarantee that I will never say Lashon Hara. So you know what? This is not what you're required to do. Even take 1 hour a day. Just say between, let's say 8 and 9, o'clock in the morning. Between these hours, I don't talk Lashon Hara. I don't talk about other people, no matter what. And if people call me and they start saying something, then you say, excuse me, now it's between 8 and 9, and I don't say Lashon Hara in this times, so bye. Or let's talk about something else. You really, really hold on to it. And it's 1 hour, and for you, it will seem like it's nothing. Like, what does it matter? This hour that I didn't speak Lashon Hara, you know what I said the rest of the time? It doesn't matter. This 1 hour, it counts. You have no idea what it does, how powerful that is. So even just, okay, if we could take it upon ourselves to never talk badly about other people, that would be perfect. I wish. But we're not always there. So even taking 1 hour, that's great. Another example is davening, talking to Hashem. Because if we just mentioned just how much Hashem loves us and just how great is the connection between us and Hashem, the most clear way to show this relationship is by talking to Hashem. So davening could be out of the Siddur, or it could not. It could just be 5 minutes a day that you look up and you talk to Hashem, and that's amazing. Another example is Shabbat. Now, Shabbat is very, very hard. There are 39 things, 39 different melachot that are forbidden on Shabbat, and it's not really 39. We're talking about hundreds. So taking the entire thing, if you could, that would shatter all the world. It's very hard. So even if you just take one thing that you think, I can try not to do that, and it would change your Shabbat even a little bit, that's something great. If you don't like candles and you start lighting candles, that's great. If you don't say Kiddush and you start saying Kiddush, that's great. So try to think of things, even small things, that you take, and even if they would seem small to you, they're not. They're really not. So don't doubt yourself, and don't look down at the things that we can do. Like, what, I'll start lighting nirot. No. What's the difference? Not talk about another person for now 1 hour. No. What's the difference it's going to make? It's going to make a difference. It will. Don't underestimate the small things that we can do. And you know, it said that when the Jews, I think that at the time they were called Israelites, but maybe it's the Christian version, so I'm not sure what to say, so I'm going to say Jews. But when we came out of Egypt and we started going towards the sea, Yam Suf, which again, I don't know how to say in English, so it's the sea, and they couldn't cross it, and they were chased by the Egyptians, and they didn't know what to do, and they cried to Hashem and begging him to save them. And it said the Malachim, the angels, looked down at them and they said, why breaking the sea for them? I mean, if we look at the Egyptians that are chasing the Jews, and we look at the Jews, they're exactly the same. They do the same bad things. The Jews are not better than the Egyptians in not even one thing. So why saving them? What did they do that is worth saving? And Hashem says, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they do, and it doesn't matter what they're like. And it doesn't matter even if they're just like the Egyptians and there's no difference between them. It doesn't matter. We're going to save them. And Hashem did split the sea, and we crossed it. It said originally, the prophecy was that we will be in Egypt for 400 years. But how many years were we there, really? You were only there for 210. Why? Now the Parshanim say that Hashem told Abraham that it's going to be 400 years, but really Hashem started counting from that second he told Abraham. And then 190 years passed and only 210 were left. And it's true if you do the calculating, but why telling Abraham that we're going to be there for 400 years if we're not going to be there for 400 years and we're only going to be there for 210? And the answer is that really, we were supposed to be there for 400 years. But Hashem saw that our spiritual state, the way we lived our lives, we were going so bad. And he said, if I wait even 1 second, there will be no one to save. Their spiritual essence will be gone. And I have to take them out now because they're too influenced. They're too influenced by the Egyptians and by this terrible, terrible land. And I won't have anyone left to save. So I have to save them now, even though the 400 years did not pass. And it just shows us how much Hashem loves us. He didn't save us and he didn't take us out of Egypt because we were pure and holy and such a holy nation. And unfortunately, if we look back in history, I think that there's a lot of good. But most of the time, most of history, we were far from the vision that the Jews were supposed to be. But you know what? That's okay. It's not the best thing, but it doesn't matter because Hashem loves us just the way we are. And the reason, the main thing about our creation, the main thing about Hashem creating us and putting us here, it's because of his love to us. And I think that this is what we should hold on to also, because I think that we love Hashem, even if we don't feel it every single day. Really deep down, we love Hashem, even if we don't like it, because we have a soul and our soul loves Hashem. And even if it's buried deep down, it loves Hashem. And that's the most natural thing to us. And I think that even if we can't do everything, it doesn't matter. We should just reveal this love. And even that, just that, that's a great thing to do. And the Hashem loves us so much, and the only thing that he wants us to do is just to look up. It's just to take our head out of this daily crazy life that we have, that we run from one place to the other. We are thinking of a million things, and we don't find even 1 second to really think of the essence of life and the reason why we were created. And the entire universe were created. We're so busy chasing small things instead of really focusing on what matters. And all that Hashem wants from us is just to look up and just to look for him and just to try to renew the relationship with him, or try to find a moment of truth in our day, a moment of love, to open to a small opening. There is a pasuk. I'm not sure if it's a pasuk. Maybe it's a midrash. I'm not sure. But it said, "Pitchu li petach kechodo shel machat, ve'eftach lechem petach kepitcho shel ulam." What does it mean? It means Hashem says, "Open for me an opening, just as small as a tip of a needle, and I will open for you the opening as great as the entire world." And we just need to find our way to him. And that's the best time to do it, on the month of Elul. Another thing I wanted to tell you, I spoke about the splitting of the sea. And we have Shirat Hayam. Shirat Hayam is the song that we say in davening, that it describes the song that the Jews sang after Hashem did this miracle. Whoa, it's very late. I'm sorry. I'll talk quickly. The greatest, that it describes the song that the Jews sang after Hashem saved them, after the splitting of the sea. In one of the words, it says, "Vayanusu likoto." What does it mean? It talks about the Egyptians and how they ran from the sea, or they were. So that's the interesting thing, because you would imagine how it would say that the Egyptians fled away from the sea as it closed. But what it really says is that they ran away towards the sea. And it makes no sense, because if they knew that they're going to drown, why running towards the water? You run away from it. And the Ma'ov Hashemesh explains that at that moment, Hashem revealed himself. And he revealed himself not only to us, he revealed himself to the entire world. He said, like the sky were open, and Hashem revealed himself completely. And all of the Jews got to the level of prophecy. They were all prophets. And they got to such a high level that, and in any other generation, nobody got to this level of prophecy. Only Moses on that time was on a higher level of prophecy. So they really connected to Hashem in a very, very high level. And Hashem really revealed himself, but not only to the Jews, to everyone, to the entire world, also to the Egyptians. And when the Egyptians saw him, the Egyptians saw Hashem, there was such light, and there was such love towards Hashem, even from the Egyptians. They ran towards them. They ran towards Hashem, even though they knew they're going to drown, and they did. They ran towards Hashem. And if this is what it was like for the Egyptians, then we should understand so much how much the love that Hashem has to us, or that we have to him, is so much greater. These were people that deserved to die. Like, they were sinners, and we are Hashem's kids, and he loves us so much, and we love him so much more than the Egyptians. And if they were out of their love to Hashem, they ran towards death. So for us, really, even if we don't feel it, in our core, in our essence, this is what it's like. And I just hope that on Rosh Hashanah, on Chodesh Elul, on this month of Elul, we'll find our way. And I'm talking to myself now because it's very easy to talk. It's very easy to give all the psukim. But the hard work is changing who we are. And the hard work is finding these times to daven and to talk to Hashem. You know, even davening is easy. Even opening the siddur and saying the words is easy. It's easy. But talking to Hashem with your words, with your language, meaning every word, or meaning every word of the tefillah that we have in the siddur, that's hard. And we need to remind ourselves about the love. We need to remind ourselves about the love that we have to Hashem. We need to remind ourselves about the love that Hashem has towards us. We need to remind ourselves that the entire purpose of this world is love. and that this should give us power. This should give us strength to daven and to do good things, and to find our way back, even though sometimes we feel very far. And that is it for this evening. I'm sorry I held you here for like 15 minutes and made you watch a video for 10 minutes. But I feel that mostly I was talking to myself and the things that I want to hear, and that I feel that I need to hear on this time. So I hope it wasn't too overwhelming. And thank you so much for joining me. And I'll very much appreciate it. If you want to ask questions, if you want to talk, if you want to say whatever, I'm here. So have a good evening. And I will see you, Be'ezrat Hashem, soon. I had enough of this corona. I want to go out. And I will see you, Be'ezrat Hashem. Okay, bye, ladies. Good evening.